Monica's true will unveiled, Tracy's victory turns into Port Charles's greatest scandal. In a shocking turn of events that has rocked Port Charles to its core, Tracy Quartermaine discovers what she suspected all along. Monica's supposed will was nothing more than an elaborate forgery. The discovery not only exposes a carefully orchestrated scheme, but also unveils a conspiracy involving multiple players, leaving the prestigious Quartermaine family in turmoil and forcing the Port Charles Police Department to launch a comprehensive investigation. Tracy's explosive discovery changes everything. The bombshell that Tracy uncovered has completely upended the Quartermaine family dynamics. While sorting through boxes of Monica's personal belongings at Lulu's house, Tracy stumbles upon Monica's authentic will, a document that contradicts the will that was previously read to the family by attorney Alexis Davis. The original will, which was filed with Monica's important papers in a box containing Alan Quartermaine's memorabilia, contained very different instructions than what the family had been led to believe. "This isn't right," Tracy would exclaim upon discovering the discrepancy, her voice trembling with both anger and vindication. "I knew something didn't add up. Monica would never have left everything to Ronnie. This is a fake. Someone forged this entire document." The timing of Tracy's discovery could not have been more critical. Ronnie Bard was on the verge of finalizing the sale of the Quartermaine mansion to Drew Kane, a transaction that would have been completed within a matter of days. Had Tracy not found the real will when she did, the Quartermaine legacy, a cornerstone of Port Charles society for generations, would have slipped out of the family's hands forever. The confrontation. Ronnie's ignorance becomes her alibi. With evidence in hand, Tracy marches directly to the Quartermaine mansion to confront both Ronnie and anyone else involved in what she now knows is a criminal conspiracy. When she confronts Ronnie about the forged will, Tracy's suspicions are immediately validated. Ronnie appears genuinely shocked and confused by the revelation. "I don't understand," Ronnie would protest, her face pale. "I was told this was Monica's real will. I've been following the instructions as they were given to me. I never forged anything." What makes this moment even more significant is that Ronnie herself appears to have been a victim of manipulation. Even Ronnie doesn't know the truth about the forgery. Her genuine bewilderment indicates that someone else orchestrated this entire scheme without fully informing her of the details. Ronnie, who genuinely believed she was honoring Monica's wishes, realizes she has been used as a pawn in someone else's game. Police investigation reveals the mastermind. With evidence of document forgery and potential inheritance fraud, Tracy immediately reports the matter to the Port Charles Police Department. The investigation that follows moves with surprising swiftness. Detectives examine the forged document carefully, comparing it to the authentic will and analyzing handwriting, signatures, and legal procedures. The police investigation quickly narrows down the suspects. While Tracy was the initial person the authorities looked at given her obvious motive to expose the fraudulent will, the evidence quickly shifts focus away from her. The handwriting analysis, the manner in which the document was filed, and the chain of custody all point definitively in one direction. Alexis Davis, the attorney who presented the will to the family and authenticated it, appears to be the person who actually forged it. But here's where the plot thickens even further. When confronted with the evidence and faced with criminal charges, Alexis makes an unexpected confession that sends shockwaves through Port Charles. Alexis's shocking confession: she was hired to forge the will. Under interrogation at the police station, Alexis admits to forging the will, but her confession reveals a darker truth: she didn't act alone or of her own volition. "I was hired to do this," Alexis would explain to the detectives, her voice strained with the weight of her confession. "Someone paid me to alter Monica's will and make it appear authentic. I did it, yes, but I wasn't acting independently." The police immediately press Alexis for the identity of the person who hired her to commit this crime. This is the crucial moment, the key to unraveling the entire conspiracy. However, Alexis refuses to reveal who orchestrated the scheme. Despite intensive questioning and the prospect of facing serious criminal charges, she remains silent on the identity of her employer, protecting whoever hired her to forge the document? I can't tell you. Alexis would say, her jaw set firmly. I made a promise, and I'm not breaking it, no matter what happens to me. This refusal to cooperate fully with authorities only deepens the mystery surrounding the entire affair. Who had both the motive and the financial resources to hire an attorney to forge a will? Who would go to such lengths to manipulate the Quartermain family's inheritance? The critical intervention, the mansion sale, never completes. Perhaps the most fortunate aspect of this entire scandal is that the sale of the Quartermain mansion to Drew never went through, because Tracy discovered Monica's authentic will before all the legal paperwork was finalized and signed. The transaction remains incomplete. The mansion, which has been the heart of the Quartermain legacy for decades, remains within the family's possession. We dodged a bullet, Tracy would likely say to her family members. If Ronnie had signed those final documents, we would have lost everything. Monica's true wishes would have been completely ignored. The incomplete transaction now becomes crucial evidence in the case against Alexis. It demonstrates clear intent to defraud the Quartermain family and transfer substantial property through false documentation charges that could result in significant prison time. Ramifications ripple through Port Charles. The scandal has left Ronnie in an extraordinarily difficult position. Though she wasn't the primary perpetrator of the fraud, her name is now inextricably linked to the conspiracy. She faces potential legal consequences for her involvement, even though evidence suggests she was largely a victim of manipulation herself. The woman who came to Port Charles seeking to connect with her newfound family has instead found herself embroiled in a felony investigation. Drew Kane, who was expected to acquire the Quartermain mansion and consolidate his position against the Quartermain family, now finds himself dealing with the fallout of an incomplete transaction and questions about what he knew regarding the forged will. His plans to acquire the property have been completely derailed by Tracy's discovery. The identity of the person who hired Alexis to forge the will remains a tantalizing mystery. Multiple theories circulate through Port Charles about who might have orchestrated such an elaborate scheme and what their ultimate motivations could have been. The mystery deepens with each passing day, and Port Charles waits with bated breath for Alexis to finally reveal the truth. The Quartermain legacy remains intact. Through Tracy's determination and quick action, the Quartermain family has managed to preserve its most valuable asset, the iconic mansion that represents generations of family history and wealth. Monica's authentic wishes, as expressed in her genuine will now be honored, ensuring that her legacy is respected and her intentions are fulfilled exactly as she intended them to be. The scandal has undoubtedly left scars on Port Charles's most prominent families, but it has also served as a stark reminder that in this town, nothing is ever quite what it seems. And the truth, no matter how long it takes to surface, ultimately has a way of coming to light. Next, we will learn about the intriguing theory swirling around Gen Sidwell and his shadowy connections that could unravel everything in Port Charles. In the ever-twisting world of Port Charles, a fresh wave of speculation has fans buzzing about Gen Sidwell's true identity and motives. This enigmatic figure, who first slinked into town toward the end of 2024, has been a ghost in the narrative, popping up in unexpected places and weaving through high society events without a clear purpose. His presence feels like a carefully laid trap, leaving viewers puzzled over his endgame. Is he a lone wolf chasing personal vendettas, or part of a larger, more sinister network? Initially, many pointed to Sonny Corinthos as Sidwell's main obsession, given the subtle threats and calculated encounters that hinted at a brewing power struggle in the underworld. But recent revelations have shifted the spotlight dramatically. When Britt Westburn found herself ensnared in a nightmarish captivity orchestrated by the elusive Pascal and his notorious Five Poppies syndicate, Sidwell's fingerprints were all over the operation, pulling strings from the shadows. This wasn't just a random kidnapping. It exposed layers of manipulation where Britt was treated less like a victim and more like a pawn in a high-stakes chess game. Adding fuel to the fire, Jack Brennan's confidential briefing to Anna Devane dropped a bombshell Sidwell shares undeniable ties with the long-deceased Caesar Faison, the mastermind of chaos whose legacy still haunts the town. This link isn't superficial, it's rooted in Faison's old web of espionage and deceit, suggesting Sidwell might be the architect of a revival, using Britt and the late Nathan West as unwitting instruments in his grand design. Imagine the implications. If Sidwell is pulling the levers on these two, it could mean he's resurrecting Faison's empire, one covert asset at a time, with Britt's medical expertise and Nathan's investigative grit repurposed for darker ends. Delving deeper, the question on every fan's mind is whether Gen Sidwell and Caesar Faison are truly one and the same, a twist that would eclipse even the wildest resurrections in soap history. Port Charles has seen its share of the dead rising from the grave, but Faison returning after his explosive 2018 demise would be legendary. We've witnessed his children, Britt and Nathan, defy death in heartbreaking ways. Britt's battle with her illness and Nathan's tragic end both carried the weight of unresolved family trauma. Without Peter August in the picture, the pieces align eerily for a full-blown family reckoning, where blood ties pull everyone back into the fray. Picture this: Sidwell, with his polished demeanor and evasive backstory, could be Faison in disguise, having undergone a radical transformation to evade detection. How might he have achieved it? Advanced plastic surgery funded by hidden fortunes, perhaps combined with experimental tech from his syndicate connections, altering not just his face, but his voice and mannerisms to perfection. Anna Devane's instincts, always sharp as a blade, flared when Jack mentioned Sidwell's Faison link. Her unease was palpable, a mix of dread and determination as she pieced together the puzzle. The odds seem astronomical, faking a death as public as Faison's, complete with that infamous brain preserved in a jar as proof, only to emerge years later with a vendetta-fueled agenda. Yet in General Hospital's realm of impossible comebacks, it's not just plausible, it's poetic. Sidwell could be orchestrating a psychological siege, deploying Britt and a spectral Nathan as echoes of his lost progeny, twisting their legacies into weapons against old foes like Anna and Robert Scorpio. This theory adds a chilling layer, suggesting Sidwell's scheme is personal revenge masked as corporate intrigue, with every alliance in Port Charles at risk of crumbling under the weight of buried secrets. Even if we stretch credibility, the darker undertones of this plotline push boundaries for even the boldest GH arcs. If Faison lives, what gruesome relic sits on that dusty shelf in the lab, masquerading as his brain while scientists poke at it for insights into psychopathic minds? The brain-in-a-jar gimmick was a macabre signature of Faison's exit, but now it screams deception. Could Faison have engineered his escape by sacrificing an innocent arrival as a stand-in, complete with forged DNA to fool the experts? His death in early 2018 coincided with one of the town's most devious swaps, Ryan Chamberlain impersonating his twin brother, Kevin Collins, in a bid for freedom and infamy. Kevin, as the ethical psychiatrist, had advocated for preserving Faison's brain for study, hoping to unlock the secrets of such a deranged intellect. But what if the timeline bends? A clever retcon could reveal Ryan's hand in the cover-up, directing the procedure while Faison slipped away under the chaos. Ryan, ever the puppet master, might have allied with Faison in a quid pro quo, swapping identities and fates to outmaneuver their shared enemies. This collaboration would explain the precision, Ryan handling the psychological distractions while Faison arranged the physical escape, perhaps smuggling him out via underground channels tied to the Five Poppies. The result, a brain that belongs to neither, stashed away as a red herring, while the real Faison, now Sidwell, laughs from afar. This invented alliance deepens the mystery, portraying Ryan not just as a lone psycho, but as a co-conspirator in a web spanning years, with Port Charles as their playground. Fans can't help but wonder if traces of Ryan's influence linger in Sidwell's tactics, like the calculated taunts that echo Chamberlain's sadistic flair, hinting at a partnership that could reignite old terrors. Finally, the elephant in the room looms large, the potential return of Peter August, completing this fractured family portrait and escalating the drama to explosive heights. Everyone senses it brewing. Peter, Faison's son with a chip on his shoulder the size of the Casa Dini Empire, absent but not forgotten. Did Faison, in his cunning foresight, orchestrate this entire saga from the shadows years ago, anticipating his children's deaths and engineering their rebirths as tools of disruption? The theory posits he faked their demises entirely, whisking Britt and Nathan into hiding rather than letting fate claim them. Brainwashing sessions in remote facilities, perhaps laced with drugs from Pascal's arsenal, could have reprogrammed them into compliant agents, their free will eroded by guilt or leverage over loved ones. Nathan's death, once a gut-wrenching loss, might reveal itself as a staged exit, with the real him emerging as a hardened operative under Sidwell's command. Britt, resilient as ever, could be torn between her loyalties, her medical knowledge weaponized to revive old experiments. And Peter, his comeback would be the detonator, arriving not as a villain reborn, but as a son manipulated into vengeance, targeting Anna for her role in the family's downfall. Sidwell, as Faison post-surgery, would oversee it all, a father reuniting his kids not in joy, but in a storm of retribution. This scenario invents a hidden lair where the West siblings were held, their memories fragmented to serve the cause, adding emotional depth as they grapple with rediscovered identities. Next, we will dive deep into the swirling drama surrounding Jack Brennan's growing suspicions about Carly Corinthos and her hidden agendas in Port Charles. Jack's instincts on high alert. In the shadowy world of international espionage that Jack Brennan navigates as the formidable WASB station chief, nothing escapes his razor-sharp instincts. This seasoned operative, who has orchestrated covert operations across continents, isn't one to overlook subtle shifts in alliances or affections. Lately, he's been picking up on the subtle distance creeping into his relationship with Carly, the fiery entrepreneur whose resilience has captivated him amid the chaos of Port Charles life. Is it mere paranoia fueled by his high-stakes profession, or is Carly truly concealing a web of secrets that could unravel everything they've built? Picture this: Jack, ever the strategist, might be replaying every late-night conversation and stolen glance, wondering if his own trust issues are clouding his judgment or if there's a genuine betrayal brewing beneath the surface. Fans have long speculated about Jack's unyielding nature, forged in the fires of WASB missions where letting go could mean life or death. His background as a no-nonsense leader, perhaps drawing from imagined past exploits like dismantling a rogue syndicate in Eastern Europe, suggests he won't simply accept emotional drift without probing deeper. Adding layers to this tension, envision Jack confiding in a trusted WASB colleague over a clandestine call, dissecting Carly's recent moods that seem tied to unexplained absences at the Metro Court. This internal battle humanizes him despite his tough exterior. Vulnerability seeps through when it comes to matters of the heart. As the plot thickens, Jack's suspicions could lead him to unconventional tactics, like subtly monitoring Carly's interactions or even enlisting low-level surveillance, all while masking his fears behind charming facades. Testing loyalties with a bold move. The pressure is mounting for Jack, who views Carly not just as a romantic interest, but as a potential anchor in his turbulent existence. Losing her would be a blow to his carefully guarded world, especially after months of drawing her closer during her personal storms. Recall how he's capitalized on Carly's vulnerabilities, the relentless tragedies striking her family, from legal entanglements to the profound grief following Bobby Spencer's untimely passing, which left Carly grappling with loss on multiple fronts. Jack, with his empathetic yet calculated approach, has positioned himself as her steadfast support, whispering reassurances during quiet moments at the Quartermain estate or over coffee at Kelly's diner. But now, sensing her withdrawal, Jack might escalate things dramatically by floating the idea of a deeper commitment, perhaps culminating in a surprise proposal under the stars at the Port Charles waterfront. This isn't mere romance, it's a tactical play to lock in her loyalty before she slips away entirely. Imagine the scene: a velvet box hidden in his jacket, his voice steady as he vows to shield her from the dangers that lurk in both their worlds, including the shadowy threats from his WASB past that could resurface at any moment. Yet, is this leap too ambitious? For Jack, who has survived betrayals in the field, marriage represents the ultimate alliance, but it risks exposing his own emotional underbelly if Carlyle's heart isn't fully in it. Speculation runs wild among viewers. Will this move solidify their bond or ignite the fuse on Carlyle's simmering resentment? Carlyle's secret alliance and calculated risks. Beneath Carlyle's poised exterior lies a storm of vengeance, meticulously planned in tandem with the enigmatic Valentin Casadini, whose own history of manipulation makes him the perfect co-conspirator. Their partnership stems from a raw-wound Jack's bold decision to recruit Jocelyn Joss Jacks into the WSB's elite training program, thrusting her into a realm of peril that no mother could stomach. Carly, protective to her core, sees this as a direct affront, especially given Joss's youthful idealism and the dangers of undercover work that mirror the losses Carly has already endured with her own children. In this expanded intrigue, picture clandestine meetings in hidden corners of the Casadini compound, where Valentin shares dossiers on Jack's vulnerabilities, perhaps fabricated weaknesses like a long-buried family secret from his pre-WSB days in a forgotten European outpost. Carly, ever the quick thinker, contributes her insider knowledge of Port Charles power players plotting to dismantle Jack's authority from within the WSB hierarchy. This alliance isn't without risks. Valentin's unpredictable nature, influenced by his own paternal regrets with Charlotte, could complicate their scheme, leading to heated arguments over strategy. Yet Carlyle's determination shines through. She won't abandon this path, even if it means feigning devotion to Jack. If he proposes, her yes would be a masterful stall tactic, buying precious weeks to execute phases like leaking falsified intel or rallying disillusioned WSB agents against him. Delving deeper, Carlyle's internal conflict adds profound depth, torn between her genuine affection for Jack's intensity and the maternal fury driving her revenge. New elements emerge in her daily routine, stolen moments of doubt while journaling at her home office, or confiding fragments of her turmoil with trusted ally Sonny Corinthos, who warns her of the fallout. This layered portrayal elevates Carly beyond the vengeful archetype, showcasing her as a multifaceted force navigating love, loyalty, and retribution in Port Charles' unforgiving landscape. Jason's intervention and unyielding concerns. As tensions escalate, next week's previews promise a pivotal clash when Jason Morgan, the stoic enforcer with an unbreakable bond to Carly, steps in to confront her directly. Jason, whose loyalty to Carly has weathered decades of drama from shared custody battles over Michael to life-or-death escapes, won't stand idly by as she treads dangerous ground. Will he uncover the full scope of her matrimonial ploy with Jack, the very man endangering Joss's future, or stumble upon her collaboration with Valentin's elaborate takedown scheme? Either revelation spells trouble, as Jason's protective instincts clash with Carlyle's autonomy. Envision the confrontation unfolding in a dimly lit corner of the Metro Court, Jason's piercing gaze demanding answers as Carly deflects with her signature blend of defiance and vulnerability. Jason's history with high-stakes intrigue, including his own WSB ties and brushes with betrayal, positions him to foresee the perils. A rushed wedding could entangle Carly in Jack's espionage world, exposing her to assassins or internal purges. He might press her on the ethics, reminding her of past mistakes like the Drew Kane identity crisis, urging a cleaner break instead of this risky charade. Yet, Jason's reluctance to interfere too deeply stems from respecting Carlyle's strength. After all, she's survived worse without him. In a fresh twist, Jason could involve other allies, like a subtle check-in with Sam McCall for insights on Joss's WSB recruitment, uncovering overlooked details such as Jack's personal motivations tied to an old vendetta against the Corinthos family. This pushes Jason to weigh intervention versus restraint. He despises the idea of Carly allying with Jack, but abhors her vengeful path even more, fearing it could fracture her family irreparably. Ultimately, Jason's hands may be tied, he can advise, but Carlyle's fierce independence leaves him little room to dictate. setting the stage for explosive fallout that ripples through Port Charles. The unfolding web of deception. This intricate tapestry of suspicion, proposals, and revenge promises to keep General Hospital viewers on the edge as Jack's pursuit collides with Carlisle's schemes and Jason's watchful eye. With added stakes like potential WASB leaks threatening the town's elite or Joss's first mission going awry, the drama intensifies. Carlisle's dual life teeters on a knife's edge. Will her yes to Jack seal her fate, or ignite a chain reaction exposing Valentin's hand? Jason's confrontation could be the catalyst, forcing choices that redefine alliances in unexpected ways. Stay tuned as Port Charles' secrets unravel one tense revelation at a time.